Hey guys, it's me Tilly, back at it again with another beginner guide for Vindictus. So far, we crafted your Season 3 items, and we enhanced them, and if you missed those two tutorials, definitely check them out on my channel. But today we will finalize their items by both enchanting and infusing them. We will start with enchanting them because this is probably the more necessary one. Infusing is more about min-maxing your stats later on, but I'll come to that later. First thing first, when it comes to enchanting, you gotta be aware that every item can be enchanted with a pre and a suffix, meaning you can put 2 scrolls on every item. Let me demonstrate that. On my weapon, for example, the way you read the item is +15, which is the enhancement. I talked about that in my previous video. Chaotic is the prefix. Conviction is the suffix. So those are the 2 scrolls. And then is what the item is actually called, Dullahan Spellsword. Another item. My helmet. +15, we already know. That's the enhancement. Heartless, which is our first scroll. Capture, second scroll. So we know every item has the potential of being enchanted with 2 different scrolls, and you should probably make use of that all the time. The next important thing you gotta be aware of when it comes to enchanting is the risk that comes with enchanting items, because there are 2 different types of scrolls. Your rank 6 and 7 scrolls, which do require a rune to be used, and your rank 8 or below scrolls. You can separate them very easily from one another. I got 2 examples for you. If your scroll has like a purple badge, it is safe to use without a rune. If your enchant scroll got like an orange touch to it, you should probably be using a rune unless you know what you're doing. And I might even talk about a scenario later on where using an enchant scroll on rank 6 and 7s might not be worth it. But first things first. I'll just show you real fast how enchanting works on an example. To enchant an item, you open up the inventory, you click the enchant button, you right click the item, and then you right click the scroll. Here is where it gets risky, because you need to know what you're doing. Let me guide you through it. First thing will be in the red text above, which is the maximum success rate you can get your scroll up to, which is 100. Every rank 8, 9, A, B, are there still B rank? Okay, any purple scroll can get up to 100% nowadays, which is quite nice. I don't want to be failing 10 passions ever again. And your current success rate is in this little half circle. And it is 50% right now. So if I were to use the enchant button right now, I'd have a 50% chance of failing and a 50% chance of succeeding. That is too low for me. I want to get as close as possible to the maximum, which is 100%. And for that, we got our enchantment material. The magic elixir, the blessed magic elixir, and magic elixir of life. We can craft all 3 of them in the magic laboratory, talking to Bryn. Or if you have money, enough of it, you could buy it off the marketplace. But definitely check out the laboratory first in case you are able to craft a bunch of them yourselves. So how does increasing your success rate during enchantments work? For that, you have your half circle down below. It reads current magic 0 out of 100. And this is where the elixirs come into play. You see every material has a magic number attached to them. Magic elixir is 1 to 10. Blessed magic elixir 10 to 50. So if we were to use a blessed magic elixir, we could get up to 50 of that magic. So in a perfect world, which will probably never happen, but I think it happened to me once. You use 2 blessed magic elixirs, each of them giving you 50 magic, so you get to 100. And the biggest problem with that is you can only use 5 of these materials per try, and you can overcap, meaning I'll show you. I'll waste a bunch of elixirs just to show you. I used 1 and I rolled a 30 4. And you've seen my enchant success rate went up to 67. That's pretty cool. So we click again. So far, there's no risk of overstacking because the max magic we could get is 50. And we still have 66 to go, technically. We got decently lucky. Did we? No. This is fine. We got 75, which is a 87% success rate. If you were to approach it perfectly, you want to use magic elixirs from now on, because you still have 3 materials left to put in. But using a blessed magic elixir, you actually have a higher chance of overstacking than not overstacking. I'll just show you what happens if you overstack. Ta-da! We are now at 112 out of 100, which is overcapped, and our success rate dropped down to the lowest one. That happens if you overstack by 500, which is not possible, or just by 1. So you gotta be very, very careful once you get into the 90s or like close to the 100 area. You don't ever want to overcap. Because what happens technically, every time you put in an elixir, it instantly gets consumed. You don't have to use that right now. I don't have to begin the enchantment with my low success rate. I can just hit the re-amplify magic button and I can start over. But those 3 magic elixirs are used, they're gone. So let me get close to 100. We're at 99%, so we only have a 1% chance of failing, which is worth for me. I'm gonna try it like that. There's actually no... Oh, there's a way you could get higher. If you use a magic elixir and you roll a 2, which is unlikely. But anyways, since we are using a rank 8 scroll, we actually don't need to use a rune. Because the worst thing that happens if we fail this enchantment right now, we are losing max durability on our belt, which we can restore later on anyways. So the only thing a rune would prevent is that max durability loss, and getting the max durability restored is cheaper than spending an enchantment rune. So for rank 8s, for purple enchant scrolls, don't use runes. Save them for your important scrolls. Let's try. This shouldn't fail. If this fails, we might as well get a +20 weapon. Because the odds of succeeding are 19 to 20 is actually 1%. Cool. So now we successfully have 1 out of 2 enchantments on our belt. To round up the enchantment topic, let me briefly talk about rank 6 and 7 scrolls. As I said earlier, you want to use runes whenever you try a rank 6 or 7 enchantment. Because what happens if you fail a rank 6 or 7 is your item gets destroyed. And you're able, again, to get it back, just like during the enhancement tutorial. But it's still stuck on that level. You can't do anything with it anymore. You could technically try and enchant again, and if it fails, then you can't get it back actually. If you fail an enchantment twice on an item, it's gone forever. But the actual good thing about those rank 6 and 7 scrolls, in my opinion, is if you fail them, and you obviously use the rune, hopefully, so your item does not get destroyed, you are rewarded with scraps. Like, all of these don't really look like enchantment scrolls, because they're not. They're scraps. They are failed enchantments. And you use 4 of them. I can show you on fresh, technically. Yeah. Will it get permanent? Yeah. Yeah, we can do that, actually. If you have 4 scraps of the same rune, you will get a new enchantment scroll, which has a 100% chance to succeed. So, at worst, you only have to fail 4 times. Quick edit, by the way. There's another thing I need to tell you about enchanting, and is there are even more runes you can use. There's a normal rune, which I already talked about, and everything I said is true for that rune. But there are 2 more runes, the Premium Enchantment rune and the Exquisite Enchant rune. Explaining the Exquisite Enchant rune is really easy, because it's just a guaranteed success for your try. If you use that rune, there is a 100% chance all the time without using any elixir for your scroll to succeed. It is rather expensive though. It is only really available during special offers in the supply depot, or as a rare drop in the gachas, the gachapons, the surprise mechanics, or for you to just buy off the marketplace of somebody else getting it from those mechanics. The premium enchantment rune is a little bit more difficult to understand, but not really. The only thing the premium enchantment rune does different from the normal enchantment rune is, in case you do fail the enchantment, you not only get one of the scraps, which I told you earlier, you also get the scroll back, which is huge for enchantment scrolls that are very expensive. Because you could be actually printing money. For me, for example, I was using multiple premium enchantment runes on the Dead enchant scroll, which right now is the most expensive scroll in the game. And every fail that I did suffer on the scroll made me bag 25 mil. Because that's how much a scrap was worth at the time. And it's even more nowadays. You do get premium enchantment runes during special events. It's given out nowadays fairly frequent actually. I think there's one every other month. And you can also get it as a drop from the guild dungeon. And a little note in the very end, now for real, on the enchant topic. If I didn't mention it already, both of the normal enchant rune and the premium enchant rune, if you succeed the enchantment, the rune does not get consumed, just like during your enhancement. On the exquisite rune, it's a little bit different, because it guarantees you the success. It will get consumed, as like that one material you're using. Alright, let's move on with the second topic for today, which is infusing. Let me show you real fast on, for example, my weapon again. You see the little pickaxe item with the +2 balance stat? That is an infusion. But how do you actually get that stat on an item? It is by using an item that is called element stone. I'll show you real fast. In order to craft them, you actually have to have a proficiency at proficiency level 100. It can be any, weaponsmithing, armorsmithing, goldsmithing, tailoring, whatever you want. And this will unlock the element stone crafting. You just head to whatever talent you choose, and it will be unlocked after having a conversation with your original talent trainer, I think. And we're looking for this beauty right here, intermediate element stone. This is the most important one because it is used for items that are level 81 or above, which is probably most of your equipment, other than probably your necklace. I think that is the only, and depending which brute you're using, those two. But anything but those two items are usually infused with that intermediate stone. And their recipe is pretty easy. You only need element stone catalysts and spirit magic powders. The way you get those is by dismantling low level items. And let me pick up my list. If you dismantle any level 1 through level 47 item, it is a guaranteed element stone catalyst. And if you dismantle a level 70 or 80 item, it is a guaranteed spirit magic powder. So to farm both of the materials, you A, want to farm very low level dungeons, or B, probably your season 2 raids are the best to get spirit magic powders. Okay, let's finally head into the actual infusing process. Before you start, you want to know which item can yield which stats. And for that, it is technically pretty easy. Your armors, the best stats you can get are defense and crit resistance. You can technically choose between either one, depending on if you never ever in life want to get critical hit again, or you just want to increase the overall damage you take. Also beware that the defense you get, let me check, yeah, the defense you get technically translates into more ranking, if you care about that. One crit resistance is 50 ranking, and one infusion is usually like 100 defense, and defense gets 1-to-1 into rating. Just saying, people care about that. And any other item, any accessory, your weapon, your offhand, your brute, your jewelry, anything you can infuse can have balance, crit, and attack speed. Probably balance and crit are the two more important ones, but some people like getting even more attack speed. The thing you gotta be wary of again though is items that already yield a certain stat have a higher chance of granting you said stat. For example, the level 85 belt originally comes with balance, but not with crit or attack speed. That means your odds of infusing it with even more balance is way higher than rolling a stat onto it that was not there originally, meaning crit and attack speed are very, very unlikely to get rolled onto that item. That is the reason why your necklaces are super expensive to either get with crit or balance, because both stats are not originally on the item. To infuse an item, you either want to go to Marlena and want to talk to Vidic. I think the place is actually called Power Infusing. Or you can use a Rabbi Whistle. I like using them instead of heading to Marlena, because it's such a long travel and I can't be bothered. You get those Rabbi Whistles by completing daily missions, I think. You get quite of them if you play a lot. You click Taunt function, you click Marlena, you click Power Infusion, and boop. This is the same window that pops up if you go to Vidic directly in Marlena. We have 21 prepared. Again, for the sake of this video, we will be wasting a bunch of money trying to get this bad boy here infused. The recipe is pretty easy. You need an item, you need the element stone, you need some gold, 30k is peanuts compared to enhancement or enchantments, and you need 50 AP. There are also technically safeguards in the game. Don't use them. Like, I don't see a really good reason why you want to use them. In case you only want to try once and you can't take a negative. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. If you infuse an item, and we'll see probably, let me show you. Maybe we are luckily unlucky. Oh yeah, you can actually gain negative stats. That is why a safeguard might be a good idea if you only have one stone and you want to try, but you can't actually take a negative stat because you could technically roll up to -3 crit and balance. In 99% of the cases though, you don't care about a safeguard, because if you don't like the stat, and we obviously don't like willpower -3, we go again, and the old stat gets overwritten. And we have intelligence 3. And you just repeat that same process until you get to a stat that you're looking for. On this ring, we are either looking for balance or crit. Technically, I think everything else can roll as well. Maybe attack, not. I'm not 100% sure. But let's see. You gotta be aware as well that getting these stats sometimes is not the easiest task. I started with 21, and getting balance or crit within those 21 would be pretty good. It would not be a hyper OP. People one-shot them sometimes. I used to one-shot this ring, for example. Ah, so close. Balance -2. We're looking for a positive stat though, please. And there are people that spend up to 100 stones into one single. As I said in the beginning of the video, infusing is probably only worth it for you if you're min-maxing your stats already. Okay. Oh yeah, and a pro tip as well. As I told you earlier, to craft those element stones, you need to have a talent, weaponsmithing, armorsmithing, at talent level 100, which enables the element stone crafting and also enables the dismantling for items to actually get the materials you need. So, in case you wanna make the effort of putting time and money into leveling a proficiency, it will pay for itself in the end. Selling these element stones is actually also a rather good way of making money. So if you're new to the game, maxing a talent, or not maxing a talent, getting it to 100 might be a good idea. Because on EU, I think these sell for 1.7 mil right now, on NA most likely as always for more. And if you don't want to use them right away for yourself, because as you've seen, I spent what, 20 stones each going for 1.7 mil. That's about 30 something mil that I technically wasted. Oh shit, it's not even as cheap as I thought it to be. Yeah, okay. As a new player, you probably want to sell them. As I said, it's a good way of making money. If you got some of them spare, sometimes you get them through events or login or whatever, definitely use them, definitely try your luck. And you know what? I'll just show you. Since this is our last one, and in case we get a negative one, I don't feel like buying more, so I use a safeguard. And max HP 0. That means our safeguard kicked in. It would have actually been a negative one. You can't roll a 0 without a safeguard. Alrighty. Alright, that's it for today though. Thank you so much for stopping by as always. If you have any questions left regarding those two topics, feel free to spam the comments, check my streams, check my Discord, ask there for help, and stay tuned for my next video, which will probably cover reforging. Until then, see ya.